Subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon, to never miss a video from us. Hi, welcome to our Interview Questions Prep Series. These questions are for candidates who are preparing for Entry Certificate in Business Analysis. Question 1. What do you understand by the term business analyst? The business analyst is the bridge between various stakeholders in an organization. That is to say, they are responsible for clarifying and finalizing the requirements to help the project team in project planning, designing, and finally validating the developed components. Moreover, they have adequate domain knowledge that can sort the business needs amongst the stakeholders belonging to different domains. Question 2. Can you explain the difference between a requirement and need in a business analysis? Needs are the advanced level definitions for the future goals of a business. And requirements are the representation of the detailed description of that business needs. Question 3. Define flowchart. Explain its importance. Flowchart shows the complete flow of the system through symbols and diagrams. However, it is important as it makes the system easily understandable to the developers and non-technical stakeholders. Question 4. Explain CATWO in business analysis. CATWO is customers, actors, transformation process, worldview, owners, and environmental constraints. This tool helps in getting the useful insights from the collected data to make the right decisions from the same. Question 5. What do you mean by CAS? CAS stands for Communication as a Service, which is outsourced scheme and interaction that can be leased from a single vendor over the internet. Question 6. What is the major difference between risk and issue? A risk is a future event that negatively impacts business objectives, whereas the issue is a result of events currently happening. Question 7. Define Agile Manifesto. Agile Manifesto refers to a guide for software developers that explains about Agile development principles to ensure iterative solutions. Question 8. What is the Kanban tool in terms of business analysis process? This tool helps Agile teams to guide and manage work visually as it is progressing through processes. Moreover, it also helps to schedule systems in Agile just-in-time production to describe the current development status. Question 9. Explain the term increment in business analysis. Increment term refers to the sum of all product backlog items, which is completed in the previous spring. Question 10. Define an activity diagram with its important elements. The activity diagram refers to a visual representation of the workflow of a business use case. Moreover, it shows various activities that take place in an organization in different departments like HR, sales, accounts, etc. The important elements in the activity diagram are initial nodes, activities, control flows, decisions, a fork, guard conditions, join, and end nodes. Question 11. Explain the abilities of a business analyst. First, they have analytical thinking and decision-making skills. Second, they have knowledge in business and industry. Third, they have advanced skills in business process management. Fourth, they have technical and soft skills as well as problem-solving and negotiation skills. Question 12. Can you name files that a business analyst handles? Some of the common documents that a business analyst uses to handle include: first, project vision document. Second, use cases. Third, requirement management plan. Fourth, requirement traceability matrix. Fifth, business requirement document. Sixth, system requirement specification, or system requirement document. Seventh, test case. Question 13. Explain exception in business analytics. Exception is defined as the unpredictable changes in an applications, or during the final process. Question 14. Define system requirement specification. System requirement specification, or SRS, explain the features of a system, and it includes a variety of elements that defines the functionality required by the stakeholders and customer to satisfy the end users. SRS is an advanced level technical specification document of the software. Question 15. What do you understand by term requirement? The requirement is basically to achieve specific business goals, or objectives. Moreover, it works as an input to various stages of SDLC. This refers to the basis of a project, that must be validated by the stakeholders, and business users before implementation. Question 16. Define business modeling. Business modeling means identifying the value proposition for a business, and then building a step-by-step approach for operating the business. However, it includes vision, mission, and strategies to achieve the goals. Question 17. Explain use case. The use case provides a sequence of events and actions regarding any process. Moreover, it is a technique that defines the targeted features and the resolution of any possible errors which a user may encounter. Question 18. What system used to perform required functions? To perform the necessary functions, knowledge management is used. Question 19. Define gap analysis. Gap analysis is a method to analyze the gap between the existing system and functionalities and the targeted system. However, gap refers to the amount of tasks required to get the intended result. Moreover, it defines the performance level comparison between the present and the proposed functionalities. Question 20. Define requirement elicitation technique. Requirement elicitation refers to the process of requirement gathering from stakeholders, users, and customers by conducting meetings, questionnaires, interviews, brainstorming, prototyping, sessions, etc. Question 21. Define non-functional requirements, and what is its capturing process? Non-functional requirements define the performance level characteristics to show how fast it can respond, and how smooth is a user interface, etc. of the application under development, AUD. The non-functional requirements are captured in the SRS document in its appointed section. Question 22. What are the skills a business analyst must have? The skills of a business analyst are categorized in 3 types. First, fundamental skills. This includes problem solving, communication, and management skills. Second, technical skills. This includes IT skills like MS Office, operating systems, programming languages, knowledge of database, SDLC knowledge, etc. Third, business analysis skills. In this, there is requirement elicitation, documentation, and decision making. Question 23. Explain how you will define quality requirement as a business analyst. This quality requirement can be measured using the SMART rule. SMART rule means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. First, specific. This means that the requirement should be specific and is documented properly. Second, measurable. In this, different parameters can measure the success criteria of the requirement. Third, attainable. This explains that the requirement should be feasible within the scope of the given resources. Fourth, relevant. In this, the requirement must be in line with the project's business case. Fifth, timely. For this, the requirement should communicate early in the project lifecycle. Question 24. Describe the documents used for capturing non-functional requirements. There are 2 documents used for capturing non-functional requirements, that are System Design Document, or SDD, and Functional Requirement Document, or FRD. Question 25. Define alternate flow in the use case diagrams. This is an alternative solution or activity in a use case that should be followed in case of any failure in the system. Question 26. What are your views on involvement of a business analyst in testing? Yes, as a business analyst understands the overall system requirements and challenges associated with it very well. Thus, they can be instrumental during the testing phase to run it appropriately and resolve any system-related query. Question 27. Explain the best practices to follow during writing a use case. Some of the best practices to write a use case are: first, the use case must provide some value back to the actor or stakeholder. Second, the functional and non-functional requirements must be captured appropriately in the use case. Third, the use case must have one or more alternate flow with the main flow. Fourth, The use case should only describe what the system does, and not how it is done, which means it will not describe the design. However, it will act as a black box from the viewpoint of an actor. Question 28. Define invest. The term invest stands for independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, sized appropriately, and testable. Invest can assist project managers and technical teams to deliver quality products or services. Question 29. Explain the term Pareto analysis. Pareto analysis is an 80-20 rule, that is a decision-making technique used for defect resolution and quality control. Here, 80-20 means 20% causes 80% effects in a system. Question 30. Do you know about personas? Personas represent the user-centered design methodologies that check if an application is capable of performing on a demographic basis. Moreover, it has fictional characters that are taken by the business analysts on the basis of their possible demographic-specific behavior. Question 31. Define UML modeling. Unified Modeling Language, that is, UML is an industry standard for documenting, constructing, and visualizing various components of a system. However, this modeling standard is used for software development, and for describing job roles, organizational functions, and business processes. Question 32. Explain the difference between exception flow and alternate flow. Exception flow refers to the path traversed in case of any exception or error, whereas alternate flow are the actions that can be performed apart from the main flow, and can be considered as an optional flow. Question 33. Define BPMN. BPMN stands for the Business Process Model and Notation. It refers to the graphical representation of business processes. Question 34. What is the use of Kano analysis? Kano analysis is used for analyzing systems regarding its requirements to identify its impact on customer satisfaction. Question 35. Explain the different types of actors in use case diagrams. There are two types of actors in a use case. First, primary actors that start the process. Second, secondary actors that assists the primary actor. Question 36. Name the different types of gap that a business analyst can encounter during gap analysis. There are mainly four types of gap. First, the performance gap. This defines the difference between expected performance and the actual performance. Second, the product gap. This explains the gap between budgeted sales and actual sales. Third, the profit gap. This is the variance between a targeted and actual profit of the company. Fourth, the manpower gap. This defines the gap between the required number and quality of the workforce in the organization. Question 37. Define benchmarking. Benchmarking means measuring the performance of an organization to compete in the industry. However, in this process, a company may measure its policies, performance, rules, and other measures. Question 38. What do you mean by requirement prioritization? Explain the different techniques used for it. Requirements prioritization refers to the process for allocating the requirements based on the business urgency to different phases, schedule, cost, etc. The techniques used for requirements prioritization are: first, Moscow technique. Second, requirements ranking method. Third, $100 method. Fourth, Kano analysis, and more. Fifth, 5 whys. Question 39. Define process design. Process design is a method that helps to analyze the challenges in business and to find an effective solution for those. Using process design, workflows are created to get the best possible outcome in the shortest time. Question 40. Define the essential problem-solving skills of a business analyst. This includes: first, leadership skill. Second, excellent communication skill. Third, problem analysis skill. Fourth, technical knowledge. Fifth, domain knowledge. Question 41. Can you explain the difference between business analysis and business analytics? The major difference between business analysis and business analytics is that the first one is the functions and process related, whereas the second one is data related. Business analysis is for recognizing business needs and determining the solutions to those problems. The tools and techniques for business analysis include SWOT, CATWO, MOST, 5Y, etc. On the other hand, business analytics is for handling the data and then analyzing it to get insights into a business. However, there are 4 types of business analytics that are: descriptive analytics, decisive analytics, prescriptive analytics, and predictive analytics. Question 42. Is it necessary for a business analyst to involve during the implementation of requirements? During an implementation of a requirement or use case, a business analyst can help to resolve many business strategies related problems that may arise during the implementation stage. Not to mention, they can learn from the problems, which may help them to provide the solution in similar scenarios, and also help to gain their domain knowledge. Question 43. Can you list down the problems faced by a business analyst? Some of the problems faced by a business analyst are: first, employees-related issues. Second, technology-related problems. Third, access-related. Fourth, business policies-related issues. Fifth, business model errors. Question 44. How will you decide if a business analyst has collected all the requirements? This can be decided when: first, if it is validated and approved by the business users. Second, the requirements are aligned with the project's business requirements. Third, if the requirements are implemented with the available resources. Fourth, all the key business stakeholders are aligned with the elicited requirements. Question 45. What is the process of performing requirement gathering? The requirement gathering process is divided into multiple steps based on SDLC cycle. The step involves: first, specific tasks to perform. Second, principles to follow. Third, documents to produce. Question 46. What are the components of the requirements work plan? The components are: first, project description. Second, key issues. Third, deliverables. Fourth, goals and objectives. Fifth, strategy. Sixth, resources. Seventh, budget and time. Question 47. Explains the steps involved in product development. The steps include: first, market analysis. Second, SWOT analysis. Third, personas. Fourth, competitor analysis. Fifth, identifying the strategic vision. Question 48. According to you, which one is better, the waterfall model or spiral model? Firstly, it all depends on the type and scope of the project. However, a life cycle model selection is based on the organizational culture and various other scenarios to develop the system. Question 49. What are the essential phases of an IT project? The phases of any IT project are: first, initiation. Second, planning. Third, execution. Fourth, monitoring and control. Question 50. Define RUP methodology. Rational Unified Process, that is, RUP refers to a product application improvement method. This is an object-oriented approach that is for ensuring successful project management and top-notch software production. Question 51. What do you mean by project deliverables? The project deliverables refer to the set of measurable goods and services that are delivered as an output to the end customer at the completion of the project. Question 52. Explain the term FMEA. FMEA is a failure mode and effects analysis. It is used mainly in product development, system engineering, and operations management. Moreover, this analysis is for figuring out various failure modes and their severity in any system. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.